Hello, bike fitness coaching again. This topic has come up again on Ruby on our riding indoors. So I put a little presentation together, a little 10-slide presentation all about FTP tests, my thoughts and take on it. FTP test. Oh, and wait, not that FTP. This FTP, functional threshold power. What is it? Outdoor versus indoor, which is better? What is an FTP test? How to conduct it? The lengths and different types of tests we're going to discuss briefly. Published numbers have some interesting results for you, and conclusion. And we also got a little bonus at the end as well. FTP, or functional threshold power, represents the highest average power you can sustain for 1 hour measured in watts. Serves as a reliable guide and gauge for your current fitness level. FTP is also used to determine power zones for training. So the question that comes up all the time is, does fatigue figure into the test? For example, if you do a hard climb or hard training session the day before and then do your FTP test, your number is probably going to be down. So it's kind of a moving target. How well you do on it has a lot to do with the cadence you're pushing, the length of the crank arms, how recovered you are after a hard workout. There's a lot of variables in the FTP test. Andy Coggin, Hunter Allen came up with the term functional threshold power and created a 20-minute quick test based on the actual 1 hour test. If you want more information, you can go to this website, Hunter Allen's website, and get the book. Beautiful book. Explains everything you need to know about coaching, training, racing, and testing. Also, many apps via smart trainers rely on your FTP to tailor specific training plans, workouts, challenges, races, etc., and categories in races. Indoor versus outdoor. Can you get a better workout outdoors or indoors? In general, it depends. If you have created an ATP and you stick with structured workouts, either is going to work the same. But if you spend your outside time on group rides, then you will be experiencing a lot of soft pedaling and coasting, meaning that you'll not get as good of a workout when compared to riding indoors. Currently on Ruby, there's a challenge, which is a Grossglockner, a 30.7 mile, 8,000 foot climb. It takes roughly 3 hours-ish to do. When riding indoors, like on this ride, you're always turning the pedals. Riding outdoors, a lot of coasting going on, a lot of talking and gabbing. So no, normally for the average person, they don't get as good a workout outdoors as they do indoors. What's an FTP test, or what are some more common FTP tests? Your classic 1 hour, your abbreviated 20-minute. There's also an 8-minute where you take an 8-minute interval, 10-minute rest, 8-minute hard interval, and then you average the two intervals, reduce the final number by 10%. And there's the ramp test. This is currently the favorite out in the industry right now. You ramp up until you're completely exhausted, then take 75% of your best 1-minute output. And if you're riding with apps, cyclocomputers, etc., or the online apps, they review your power frequency distribution charts and are always recalculating your current FTP going forward. All these have their pluses and minuses, and note, always warm up prior to performing an FTP test. So what's the problem with the 20-minute test? Again, the formula is FTP is 20-minute watts minus 5%. What I've studied and interviewed people, unless a cyclist is training for this test, this number is too high. This number will equate what the hour is going to be, which is no regular cyclist can hold that number for an hour. For example, I interviewed recently 15 regular cyclists who ride 3 days a week on Ruby. The results are, they all said that 5% didn't work for them. 4 of the cyclists had to subtract 8% instead of 5% to get the number. 6 of them had to subtract 10%, and 5 of them had to subtract 12% to get the hour number that they could hold. Conclusion, The standard 1 hour test is, in my opinion, too difficult for most regular cyclists. The 20-minute watts minus 5% is a great number for conditioned and well-trained athletes. More typical riders need 8, 10, 12% taken off. I believe the 20-minute test needs to be reevaluated or different categories included. The conclusion: too difficult, the 1 hour test. Here in the States, it's hard to find a stretch of road where you can ride for an hour without turning around or hitting a red light or stop sign, especially in populated areas. A 20-minute test, 5%, is great for well-conditioned cyclists, but not for the rest of us. And we get a little bonus. This comes up every once in a while too. What is VO2 max and how do I calculate it? So VO2 max is the maximum amount of oxygen that a person can consume per minute per kilogram of body weight. As an example, the average sedentary male is about 35 to 40 milliliters per kilogram per minute. The average sedentary female is about 27 to 30 milliliters per kilogram per minute. You can actually take one yourself. So here's an example of a 30-year-old with a resting heart rate of 60. So calculate your maximum heart rate by multiplying your age by 0.7 and deducting it from 205, which in this case would be 187. Divide your maximum heart rate, 187, by your resting heart rate, 60, and multiply by 15.3, and that's it. That's your VO2 max. It would be approximately 48 milliliters per kilogram per minute if you're a 30-year-old with a resting heart rate of 60. And with that, hopefully that kind of helps understand the issues of the 20-minute FTP test. And with that, we'll get back with another video shortly.